Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Thank you all for being here today. I'm back once again, as I stated yesterday, with a new message for everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for subscribing and liking and commenting. And also, thank you for sharing these videos with other people. It's so important that the message get out so that we can help other people who are going through grief. You know, mostly here on this channel, I talk about grief related to the passing of loved ones. However, within the last couple of weeks, I decided that I'm going to expand the grief, like to talk about grief and, grief and healing related to toxicity, narcissistic situations, and any form of negativity. Because in any event, people, it's necessary that we heal all of it, because grief and losing a loved one is just a part of it. However, if we have um, grief and depression and pain due to other situations that created, like dealing with people who are narcissistic, dealing with toxicity, drama, etc. We're going to cover all of that because in reality, we have to heal those things in order for us to get better. Because once we do better, once we know better and we heal those things, we do better. And the purpose of this channel is to grow, to learn about these things. Like I said, I'm going to say it now, as I say it every day. I'm not a certified therapist of any sort. I'm a person who went through so much hell and negativity that I have learned ways to heal it. Now, you don't heal anything like 100% because um, every day is a healing process. Every day you're working towards peace and getting better. And as you get better, you do better. And as you do better, you help others by the tidbits and information that you share that help yourself. You can share that with others. And that's what I'm doing here on this channel. I'm sharing with others because if I can do it, you guys can do it. Because none of it is easy. You guys can do it. So, the topic of discussion today is healing from a narcissistic relationship. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to share a little bit with you guys about me so that you know a little bit about me and what I've done in the past and, what I'm working on now, etc., and so forth. So that, you know, I'm going to be showing up here often so we can get familiar with one another through this video. And most importantly, being here so that this information can help other people. Because even though I on here and I'm talking about healing and getting better and doing better, some people do not talk about their grief. They, stay in a corner quietly, grieving and pain. But that pain must find an outlet so that it can pass through in order to heal and to grow. And that's why I'm here talking about it. So, first of all, I'm going to talk about something that happened earlier this morning. I get up really early in the morning to go to work, and then I have a break in between. And like after I do this video, I go back to work. And then, I'm home again later. Um, want to talk about, I did briefly tell everyone that I just completed the manuscript for my third book. Actually, I did that. When did I finish this? About a month and a half ago. But I'm talking to different publishing companies to get it published because I want a better deal for my third book than I got for the other two. And so, one company in particular that contacted me, I was thinking about it and we had a conversation about how I want this book published and, all the particulars of it. So I asked them to send me some information by email, sort of like a proposal of what they're going to do to help my book, etc. So then the guy calls me back about it, and I said, okay, I got your information. However, last week and week before was really, really busy weeks for me because I got a lot going on. I do a lot of meetings, Zoom meetings, and stuff that I'm working on in projects. So I told him that I was going to get to his email and I was going to review it because everything with me, people, no matter what I do, I take my time. I don't make impulsive decisions. The old Lisa used to do that, but this Lisa do not do that. I take my time. I don't think I ever really did in the past make a lot of impulsive decisions, but who I am today, um, I don't make a lot of I don't make any impulsive decisions unless it's about food or, doing something, going to the store, something simple. When it comes to business and relationships and other things, I take my time. So I'm saying all of this because when this guy contacted me about did I have a chance to review the email information and all of the particulars involved as to how they are going to set up my third book, I told him I didn't have a chance to do that. And I told him this about a week ago. Give me time because I have a lot of projects and things going on right now. I will get to the email. Once I do and I review it, I will get back to you with a decision. Do you know that this guy called me every day, 5 times a day, blowing up my phone with this? And it started to really irritate me because during the time he called me, I had to literally turn off my phone because first couple of times he called me, I was at work. Another time he called me, I was on a Zoom meeting, and then he called again this morning. No, last night. Um, what time was it? After 8 o'clock or so. And I'm usually in bed by 8:30 because I get up early in the morning. And I told him, listen, you're calling me too much. I told you I have to get to the email and review it. And once I go through it and make a decision, I'll get back to you. And I told him everything I'm telling you guys, I take my time. So again, I was on a telephone meeting this morning and he kept calling and calling and calling. And so what I'm trying to say, for the last week and a half, he's been calling me 7 times a day. And finally, when he called again, I said, look, I'm not doing business with you. I'm sorry. But what I said, actually, one of the other colleague called, and I just told her I'm not doing this. Why? You don't blow up my phone 5, 6, 7 times a day. I'm very busy. Besides work, I have my own stuff going on where, projects and things I'm working on, and my phone is ringing over and over again. Then they hung up and called back 2 more times, and I had to turn my phone off. That is impulsive. That is over the top, and to me, I see that as unprofessional. So and it looks desperate to me, and I don't want to do business. So now I'm turned off. So I'm saying, well, don't need to deal with that because, you know, I take my time. That's it. And if people don't understand that in business or whatever, then I'm not the person that we need to be in contact. So it really irritated me. And I, to the point where I told them that if it's done again, I'm going to block your number from my phone because I had enough of this. But anyway, I had to talk about that because, I don't, that is desperate to me. And I just want people to know that anything I do, I take my time. So the other thing is classroom. I want to talk about classroom briefly. I'm on my classroom, my classroom reunion site. Now, in school, in high school, I was labeled weird and a geek or whatever because all I did is read books and I stayed to myself. I wasn't popular. I didn't look like I look today. And so I have this new picture up on my site, and you other people who you went to school with, they come on and all of that. Now I have like 200 people visiting and commenting, not 200 of them commenting, but a lot of them commenting because they don't recognize who this Lisa is because I'm so different than where I was in school. I look different than I did back then. But they're like shocked. And it's just amazing because and I'm mentioning this because some of these people were the people who bullied me back then and said a lot of, you know, not nice things to me. And so I just find that, it's amazing how life can flip the script on things. But anyway, I wanted to talk about that because I just find that funny. Um, so today we're going to talk about, I have an outline here. We're going to talk about healing from narcissistic relationships because that's all part of toxicity and, things that cause that we need to heal from. Um, I have, I'm going to talk about it because I always use myself in these examples because it's going to help somebody else. Um, I was in a narcissistic relationship for about 10 years. This has been a while now. Um, and 10 years back and forth with this situation of a narcissist. And it was it made me realize as I look at it today, and think about it, is that I back then I needed to learn how to love myself. And I didn't exactly know how to do that back then, or I didn't because I would have never stayed in something like that because the verbal abuse of that was so horrific. And it just in a way, it kind of like almost destroyed my self-esteem. A lot of that. I'll give you an example. One time we were out in a restaurant and we were eating, and you know, I worked and always worked, had my own, and my son was young at the time, and that's another thing, is that he saw a lot of um, verbal abuse taking place that he should have never seen. But in any event, so we're at this restaurant, just me and this ex. I'm just thank God my son wasn't there, and eating dinner. So my ex is paying for the dinner, and I said I'll leave the tip. And I was told, put your money back in the pocket. You don't have money anyway. You never have anything, and blah blah. I'm hearing all the verbal stuff. So I'm still trying to be nice and say, listen. So I took $5 out and said back then, $5 covered, whatever. And I said, I'm going to leave the tip. I could not believe that my ex balled up the $5 and threw it um, across the restaurant, and it landed under the table of the couple that was eating, and said some choice words that I'm not going to use here about me not having money or not having it. So, it was horrific. I was in shock because the first few years of the relationship, seemed to be really good. And that's it with a narcissist. They know how to love bomb you, they know how to romance you. They know how to say all the right things and do all the right things. And they can keep that mask on for a while and make you believe the lie, the illusion, you know? And I fell in love with the illusion because the person who existed behind that mask was a monster. And but I kept trying because I said, if I can better myself in some kind of way, then I can make this work. Because you see, people, for me, having a family, and especially I had a child, and I'm a single mom, was important to me, and I tried to make that work. I did everything, and and it just got worse because with a narcissist, it's gonna get worse in time. You better believe it. And what happened was one day when I was in college, I was So I went back to school. I started early and then I went back later on when my son was probably about 13. Anyway, I was happy to be back in school. I decided I was going to write a book. When I wrote my second book, and my ex would, the second book purchase my second book. And when we had this argument, would always start arguments, for one reason or another. And in this particular argument, I was told, yeah, I have your book and I invited my friends over. I just, talking about this is hard, but it's going to help somebody who might be dealing with this or who have dealt with this. I so I was told friends were invited over to no knowledge of my own, and they had a party about my book to make fun of it, to laugh, to tear it apart, to, say how ridiculous the storyline was, and to, and as I'm hearing this and saying all these things, it was so hurtful and devastating that I started crying. I'm like, I can't believe that you would do something like this. And the old me would just cry about stuff until one day I got tired of it when something happened that shouldn't happen, when it started to get physical, like when I got pushed and punched. And then I said, I can't do this. I'm not going to be in this, regardless of how much I wanted to work, because it's not working. And before it got to that point, I talked about therapy. We need to do couples therapy because we need to resolve. I was like over the top with that, saying that we need to go and do therapy. It's important, blah, blah, etc. And yeah, we're going to do it, but it never happened. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And one day I decided that this is never going to be again, because dealing with the narcissist, they never take accountability for the part that they play in any event, whether it's a business deal, a relationship, or whatever. They never take accountability. So if I smack you or push you down, it's your fault that I did it, because you did A, B, C, and D. And if you didn't do A, B, C, or D, I would have never hit you. That kind of energy. And that's a narcissistic trait. This is just a narcissist. They never take accountability for anything. And I dealt with it, but then it started, when you have a child and your child hear these um, things that are not good, for a child to hear, just fighting all the time and negativity, just to have a family environment, because this is not how I wanted it to be. It was extreme toxicity, and it just got worse, with a lot of stuff. Anything I tried to do that built me up, uh, my ex would try to tear it down in order to tear me down. And so here's where the straw broke the camel's back, so to speak. As I was graduating from college, and I was graduating in 2015. I think my son must have been 15 so at the time. So anyway, my ex was supposed to come to my graduation. I was excited because, 4 years of school and getting my degree, and it was a lot of work, and I was so excited. My ex had an argument with me, and I feel to this day it was deliberate. So in order not to come to my graduation, didn't show up, didn't come. And at the last minute, with choice words, I'm not coming. But I had my son there, and I was still graduating. But it made me realize that I cannot stay in this and I cannot deal with this, because things in the relationship was getting worse and worse and worse. And no matter how hard I tried, I felt like I was walking on a tightrope. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm perfect and blah, blah, this and that. No, I'm not. I had my faults too. However, I did everything to try to rectify things, to resolve. Let's do couples therapy. Let's do this. And nothing. Because with a narcissist, it's not going to work because everything is your fault, always, no matter what it is. Even if you're not there and something happens on a negative, it's your fault. Add that to your collection of faults because this is what they're going to tell you. In my case, this is what I dealt with. And my graduation thing was the last straw. And they try to destroy anything that you do, any accomplishments that you're trying to do. They try to tear it down. I used to go to Panera Bread and also McDonald's after Panera Bread closed because I had to do my papers. I had 17-page papers. I had a lot of stuff. And for the first time in school, I think it was my first semester when I saw a C for the first time. Now I'm a Virgo and I work hard and I'm like, that's unacceptable because I know I can do better. So what I started doing is taking my computer because I had internet and cable at home, but it was very difficult to study at home with a lot of other stuff going on. So I would go to Panera Bread. That's when I started really getting into a playlist of music and just doing my papers. And I never got to see again, ever, and I worked hard for it. And so when I did that, my ex would call me. Oh, I got this going on. And listen, I'm doing a paper. I have to turn in a paper in the next 4 days and I have to finish. And I would get the F word about my paper and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, whatever it is, I have to talk to you later. And the more time that I dedicated to school and doing the things to, accomplish myself, the more this narcissist would tear me down, and I would just be crying and upset and going through things. And I have an older friend who's like a mom to me in New York, where I live, upstate New York. And I was talking to her and terrified because what at the end, when I was really trying to get away from the situation, I would get threatened. I'm going to burn down your house. I'm going to cut the tires off your car. I'm going to do A, B, C. And it was horrific. And in some ways, I was scared. I'm going to be honest here. I was really concerned, and the old Lisa was the new Lisa today. I'm going to deal with it head on. That's the way I'm going to say it here. But the old Lisa was terrified of it. It was one time I was at one of my son's wrestling event, and I was threatened about this because I said, whatever you left at my house, you can come and get. No, I brought it with me. You can pick it up. And it was just this horrific threat about I'm going to cut the tires off your car, burn down your house, all of these things. And I got to the point, it just got so bad. And then, therapy, I started doing some therapy, talking to my therapist. It was very difficult to leave that situation, but I did it because it was in the best interest of myself and my son. But, I didn't learn from that. I should have learned from that. And this is why I said God is really patient. He's been patient with me. And so I went into another relationship, not a narcissist later on, right? And, they work in different ways. They do things differently. This narcissist was just a horrific cheater more than anything else and very diabolical. And, I just, after that, I just said, I can't do this. And after, my mom would say things to me about getting yourself together with certain things and blah, blah, this and that. But I really wanted to have that family environment, but I was choosing the wrong people, or they were choosing me because something within myself was attracting these narcissists. And after the second one, it was just too much. And but I know the signs of it now. And I've been single for a while now. I did date last year for about 7 months or so, but another, not just a narcissist, but a liar on top of it. So I don't deal with that. That was it for me for a while. I dated just for a while. Wasn't really in a relationship trying to get to know that person. But the new Lisa, as I start to work on myself, I know I don't want these things. And dating for me is hard because as I learn to love myself and do better and take that mirror and look at myself and see what was going on and why I was attracting these things, I do things differently now, and it's important for me. I don't make impulsive decisions. Now I take my time. And then, if I like somebody, you're going to know I like you, because if I take time out of my busy schedule to contact you and say, hey, let's go here, let's go to bowling, or let's go to that carnival or something fun, and it will be something fun. That means that I like you enough to take time out of my busy schedule to get to know you. That's how, a person know that I'm invested. However, I still take my time. And, when somebody wants to rush something, I get uncomfortable. Like I was dating and somebody wanted to rush into a relationship. I'm not rushing into anything with anyone. I take my time. And I had to say that a few times. And then when the person didn't get it, I just said, this is not going to work. They were kind of shocked, but I'm very quick to say that because you got to let me be me. If I can find someone to let me be myself, and we and a equal give and take, where no one is breadcrumbing me or love bombing and all that other toxic stuff, yes, I would take my time and it will grow. Let it grow naturally. Let's go out, have fun. Let's do something fun, and then let it grow into whatever it's going to be, you know. And people don't seem to do that. They want to jump into something, and text messages and phone calls, like, where you at kind of energy, which I hate. And I'm like, okay, this is not going to work. And it's always during times where I'm busy, really on a business level. I'm doing things, and I don't mind texting and things like that. I'm getting to know a person. But when a person is breadcrumbing and giving little as possible, and they are just not, they're out to get or want to be taken care of, they're not going to get that from me. I'm very generous, with people and people in my energy, and I will help and stuff. Notice the words I'm using. I will help, not take care of, because I'm not taking care of anybody but myself and the dog. Help, and it's okay to help. But when people start to take advantage and think they got it like that kind of energy, then I'm out. I'm out, and I'm quick to do that because I have healed people. I've healed a lot of hurts within me because, like I said, I stayed too long in a 10-year relationship. I'm not going to even talk about how I was scarred from that, along with my child, because I wanted that family environment. So we have that, just because something looks good doesn't mean it's good for you. Just because you have to look deeper, you have to look behind that mask, because sometimes people are wearing a mask and they know how to wear it real good. I'm telling you, they do. They can charm you and make you feel like you're the only special person in this world. And then when that mask starts to fall off, you see the demon monster behind it, and you say, oh my God, what did I do? Now you're locked into that now, like this, you're locked in because all that charm and everything that you thought was real isn't real at all. It's an illusion. So I fell in love with the illusion of what I thought it was. The grass wasn't greener, it was fake, as they say. And, I just, and it was hard to get out of it. The threats, it's with narcissists, they don't take accountability for anything. It's always the other party's fault. And so it's never going to work under those situations. They don't apologize. They don't do anything. And I was tiptoeing on a tightrope and was afraid that one day I was going to fall off, and I had to learn how to get out of it. And when the therapist I had when I was in New York under the circumstances, and she would tell me, you have to try. And I was terrified to do that, all the threats, all the stuff. But one day, like I said, it just, my graduation part, I think that was the beginning of the end because, not showing up, starting an argument, starting something for no reason at all so that you don't have to attend because you rather do something else. And that hurt me so bad. So I had a lot of pain to heal. And I had to know that I didn't deserve that. None of that I deserved. And then getting back to the story about the restaurant, to show you guys how, and it's hard to talk about, but this is going to help somebody. My self-esteem was so low that I crawled under the table of where the couple was eating their dinner to get my $5. Unball it, put it in my wallet. That's when I said, I'm leaving. And, my ex said, well, I'm not giving you a drive because I needed a drive to the house so I can get my car and drive home. No, you take a cab, And it was just the arguing outside the restaurant and all of it. No, and I said, I'm going to call the police if you don't drive me so I can get my car because there was no way I could walk the distance. It was just too much. Then I jumped in my car and I drove home. And then, a week later, flowers, this, that, and, the charm is back on. Oh, no, it's going to be better this time around and blah, blah. And it's an illusion. People, it's an illusion. Because if they don't do the work, it's never going to get better. If they don't do the work to heal and to grow and expand, it's never going to get better. And I had to learn that. It took me 10 years. And then, shortly thereafter, what is it, a year after so, right into another one, narcissistic relationship. But this one loved to cheat, and I just, didn't want to believe it until I saw evidence of it. And I have to get out of this because I'm not doing this. And that was difficult for me. So I guess God was looking at me and saying, when you going to learn? When you going to learn, Lisa? This one, that one. And then each time you don't learn, when that wheel goes around the next time, it gets worse. When you don't learn the lessons, because we're really here on this earth to learn lessons and to help other people and pay it forward. But when you don't learn on a particular lesson, you got to repeat it. And when you repeat it, it's no fun. It's worse the next time around. I promise you it's worse because I've done it 3 times already. Third time was a charmer for me. That was it. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to get on this healing, because it was just horrific. And I had to learn. I guess what I'm saying with all of this, what really, really got me on this mission of healing is when death was all around me. It made me realize how short life is. Death on top of death on top of death during a shutdown. Just death on a domino effect. Every week, every day, just, people just dropping. And when my mom passed away, and then my dog, and it's just, okay, God, you have my attention. I just, because what I was doing on top of that is just letting people ride my skirt tail. Letting people ride the skirt tail and helping. Well, I can help them. I can help them get better. I can help this and that. No, you can't. You cannot help someone if they don't want to help themselves. Know this, the saying, you could take the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. And I have forgot about that part. And I try, I'm going to help this person. And if I give them a push, they're going to run, that kind of thing. No, it's not. If a person don't want to put in the time and the work, I can't do the work for them. They have to want to do the work to get better, to heal, and to grow. But if they don't want to do it, it's nothing you can do. You can talk and talk and talk. It's just going to go on deaf ears because they have to want to do that. And I had to learn that. And I had to learn it. And this therapist that I have now, we do work. I did a lot of work before, pros and cons. Why are you hanging on so tight, Lisa? Why you won't let go of this? Why can't you see the handwriting on the wall. And believe me, I start to see it for what it is, and instead of the illusion of it. That was important. And as I start to cry out these things, because crying is an outlet, people, it is for the pain, to release that pain. It's not weakness. It's the pain always need a place to go, an outlet, so it can go out. Doing crying till I couldn't cry anymore, on my knees in a fetal position where I just couldn't do anything, and God had to show me, the handwriting on the wall, what people were doing behind the scenes, how they really felt about me, the circle of people at that particular time that I had in my life, what they really felt, what they were really saying behind my back, what they were really doing when I wasn't around. And when I started to come across that, and with the proof of it, I had to learn to cut on. In those circumstances, there's not going to be any of these long conversations. I'm going to let you know a little bit of what I do know, and then I'm going to cut off, block, and delete. And when I started to do that, I was scared at first. I cried and I was hurt more than anything. But as I got better and started to do that and see that, I started to learn how to love Lisa, and that Lisa is important. And that's what I want you guys to get from this message today. You are important. Start to do the work so that little by little, so you can love on yourself. I promise you, when you start to love you, you're not going to let people do any and everything to you. You're going to communicate that. And you don't have to be disrespectful. You don't have to be out of character in order to get that message across. And I get messages from time to time from past people or situations. I read them and then I delete them. Because once I cut off, block, and delete, there is no reconciling. Because during the time that I had you in my life, we were a part of each other's life, I will say. I went above and beyond. I gave and gave and gave until there was nothing left to give anymore. So once I get to the point of cutting off, blocking, and delete, that means I gave everything. I don't have nothing left to give. So now the resolution is to cut off, block, and delete. There is no more conversation. There is no more communication. There is no more anything. It's a wrap. And that's how I do it. I will communicate how I feel. In the past, I wouldn't do that. I would just, have a grudge about something or feel some kind of way without expressing it. I've learned to do that because I've done the work. And I learned to love Lisa because Lisa is worth it. You are worth it. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, no matter what you're going through, no matter what trials, tribulations, you are worth it. And one particular thing that's important here, people, I stay in prayer with God. And as I did that, and I told God, I asked God, as long as the prayers that I pray to him, as long as I work in accordance to what I'm asking you, please help me. And he has done that. And people coming to me on some low level toxicity, I ask him to block it. If I can't see it, you see everything, block it. And he does that. And everything that I've been asking, it's because of God. People really want to know what it is. It's because of God. He's been making, as I put forth the effort, he's been doing everything else. And that's the truth. And that's the bottom line of it. And as I learn to love on me, I show gratitude to God. I show, I look at life differently now. And now I am in it to help other people, turning the pain into a purpose, turning that purpose into power, and then turning the power into paying it forward to help other people so that they can do the work, heal, and then they can be out there helping others as well. We all have a gift of some form of creativity. Use that. Do things that's going to help you feel better. Don't feel ashamed if you have to go somewhere in a corner and cry, because it's an outlet for that pain. Talk about it. Look in the mirror and say, I deserve better than this. Because when you're dealing with a narcissist, they will tear and rip your self-esteem to shreds. And I know that firsthand because I've done this 2 or 3 times. Third time, like I said, was a charm. I had to learn. I learned the hard way. But I've learned, and I don't want to repeat lessons over and over again, because every time that will spin around, it's going to be worse. on a lesson, it's going to be worse the second or the third time around. So, people, that's the message. Share this with someone today, because someone who may not, who you may know, may not be telling you about grief that they're going through, depression. They may be suffering, and silently, people suffer silently. They don't share. And it's important that they hear this message to know that they are important, to know that they need to look in the mirror and say, I am important. I deserve it. And start small. Heal yourself through music. Heal yourself by watching something, that's going to uplift your spirit. I watch a lot of videos as well, positive ones to uplift. Do things that's going to help you do better. And don't be so hard on yourself. If you fall down, get up. Never, the important factor here is to never give up and to never give in, because you are worth so much more. And that it's important that you help yourself, take care of your mental and physical health, and then you can take care of everything else thereafter. That's the message today. Also, anyone from wherever state you live, please Google a therapist in your area so that you can connect with one. There's no shame to that. And also bereavement groups, because you're going to hear similar stories from other people who are going through similar experiences that you are going through. And it's going to help you, that information, so that you can practice that within your own life and heal your pain. Thank you for being here today. This is Lisa, shedding love and light. I will be back again tomorrow with a new message. And everyone, have a great day. The sun is out today. I'm so happy about that. Have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.